Still alive, so that's progress.
No time to dally.
What to do?
New sounds through dampened like a pressure break. Is it the foam? That foul, contemptuous heel?
You know these words. They are from the opening stanza of a play you found in this very tower.
Come out of love for me, not love for blood and steel. Come on as if you feel, my lord, my liege. An unbeknownst command that I cannot fulfill. An unbeknownst command that I cannot fulfill. And in its wake, it tramples everything. Will kill the rest, so that the one can thrive.
You've made a grave mistake.
Hungry for the slaughter. Keep them guessing.
Still on my feet.
I got this.
a better position.
Now this is my happy place. Handy.
What now?
Ready. Got to focus.
This. Let's go. Leave no trace.
Let's cook with fire, baby.
Need to act fast.
Ready for another round?
I'm ready.
Watch this. Soldier.
I'm done. I can't wait to sleep.
Better take a peek.
Let's get going.
Hell's fire. She's coming.
Will, you've been naughty. And you know what happens when you're naughty.
Gods damn it. Anyone but her.
Will, you absolute stinker. You kept me a secret? Time to let the Hellcat out of the bag. Call me Mizora. I'm Will's patron, the fount of his power. My pet's been unruly, and his leash needs a yank. We had a deal, Will. But Karlak's still breathing.
I've taken more pleasant shits than you, Mizora. And at least those can be buried after.
That's no kind of talk for a lady. By the way, Karlak, Zariel sends her regards.
You told me! Devils only! She's a tiefling, not a monster!
How precious. The little pupster's found his bark.
Clause G, Section 9. Target shall be limited to the infernal, the demonic, the heartless, and the soulless.
Karlak meets the criteria by virtue of having no heart. Don't you worry. That ship has long sailed the Styx. But a defiant pup must still pay his price. To wit.
Will burns in the fires of Avernus. The lightning storms of Dis strike his flesh. His soul passes through each layer of the hells, gaining their essence and their torment.
That's better.
What the hells have you done?
A promise broken, a price paid. You know the terms.
Get used to the new form, pet.
There's no going back. Some magic even I can't undo.
Now, let's see how the frontiers fare without their precious blade.
Karlak, keep an eye on him, would you? I'll be keeping mine on you. Oh, and Will, don't forget,
Our pact still stands.
ta-ta.
I'll be honest, soldier. I'm reeling. Will hardly knows me, but he chose my life over his. Been a long time since someone stuck their neck out for me like that. You can say that again. When he was chasing me through Avernus, I thought he was just another sad merc. how wrong I was.
Gods damn her, straight back to the hells. Just look at me. I did what was right, and Mazora made me pay for it. I'd be hunting devils and demons, she said. Traitors and hypocrites, heartless evils of all sorts, but not Zariel's victims. Not innocent tieflings.
Warlock pacts tend to be unforgiving from what you know of them. Will was lucky he didn't face a more severe punishment.
All these years. You'd think it's a lesson I'd have well learned. It's Mazora who grants me the power to conjure armor and cast eldritch blasts. Before I was infected, I could even call hell beasts and summon festering clouds. But I promise you, every thrust of my blade and every flame I sparked was for the good of the coast. I can't utter the terms or circumstances of the pact. I can tell you most all else, but the pact, I'm forbidden, unless Mazora permits it. But I'll say this. The moment I pacted myself to Mazora, I have not regretted for a heartbeat. It was my proudest deed. It was worth the sacrifice. All I can give you on that is my solemn word.
Oakfather's blessings to you. It's had the whole region around Moonrise Towers in a chokehold of darkness and despair for years now. Those who remained are shadow-cursed. If you don't die at their hands, then you become one of them. We have to get to Moonrise, but the less time we spend in its blighted surrounds, the better. I studied one up close. Closer than most would care to be to those things. A drow attacked me and I defended myself. Afterwards, I was able to examine the tadpole that emerged. Hideous, but fascinating. Like nothing else in nature, I'm glad to say. Precious little. But I'm quite certain it can still be found. One of his cohorts, a dwarf called Brian, had a clue on his person. If you find his corpse in the goblins' camp, you may have a start. Wonderfully. If I'm honest, the grove was too comfortable for my tastes. I felt removed from nature. I'll miss my books, but I can find all the wisdom they contain out here, firsthand. Is that so? Well, nature does abhor waste. I will keep watch, thank you. I had a feeling time in your company would prove fruitful.
So, Will did the right thing, and it earned him a set of horns. Let that be a lesson to us all. We can't. And yet I cross the threshold like moonlight through leaves. This worm is a powerful little beast, isn't it? What's not to enjoy? I can walk in sunlight, trespass upon any home, manipulate minds. I'm the most powerful vampire in the realms. Granted, the looming doom is an issue, but why not enjoy the benefits while we can? Why do you insist on exhuming the past? I was a slave. A vampire spawn. Kept by the Tsar family. Perhaps I still am. I was never able to resist their commands. But now, I've been conveniently lost. They won't ever control me again. Who knows? Drow? Mind flayers? Death? Hopefully not ours. But maybe answers. If we can convince the right people to talk.
Ah, my good fellow. Quite the cozy setup you have here. I'll just make myself comfortable. Thank you so much. I was just settling in and reviewing my latest findings. Mind flayers, cultists, and, of course, your esteemed company. Why, I'm practically an expert. They've tentacles, you know. Quite shocking. The druid Halson had some kind of mind flare specimen in a jar in his quarters. A replica, no doubt, but truly fascinating to see up close. Here, on the Sword Coast. Impossible. That can't be. You're either an excellent storyteller, or you've experienced something quite exceptional. Tell me, have you noticed any residual psionic malaise since the alleged encounter? Curious. Illithids, their technical name, form a hive mind. One shouldn't be able to hear their dark whispers unless... Are you familiar with the process of theromorphosis? That is what happens when a mind flare parasite infects a living host.
What's on your mind? We were both part of Zariel's inner circle. Her by choice, me by force. In the grand scheme of things, I'm inconsequential to Zariel. Sure, I've got the engine, but I wasn't even her strongest fighter. But she favored me like a child favors a captive pet. Mizora envied the attention, I suppose. I'm sure when Zariel gave her the order to hunt me down, Mizora was delighted. I don't know. You'd think she'd have more important things to do. Devils and their pride. Oh, come on. You don't mean that. Oh, fine. I'll be here eating dirt or whatever.
I can't help feeling Will got off lightly. The wrath of the Hells is second only to the wrath of the heavens. Having a devil in our camp will certainly make things interesting. Never a dull day, is there?
Ah, yes. Karsus. Karsus was perhaps the most powerful wizard that ever lived. The child who would be a god, the elves called him. And he tried. With a spell of his own devising, he endeavored to usurp in one fell swoop the power of the goddess of magic. Mistral, she was called then. Imagine what it must have felt like to be a god, to know yourself to be untouchable, to be mistaken. As Karsus aimed his spell at her, she began to unravel, and with her, the entire weave. Too late did he realize what he had unleashed. It would have been the end of everything had not Mistral sacrificed herself. The goddess of magic is all magic. By dying, the entire weave was lost, and the spell that challenged a god failed. It was the end of Mistral, the end of Karsus, and the end of an entire civilization. As the child who would be a god was turned to stone, his empire came crashing down around him. The floating cities of Netheril were no more. An event that came to be known as Karsus's folly. For a spell, Mistral was reborn as Mistra. Upon her return, the weave returned with her. Now, so many centuries later, I try to follow in the footsteps of Karsus. Not to destroy Mistra, but to prove my love for her. I tried to control only a fraction of the magic that was unleashed that fateful day. I merely sought to return one tiny diamond to an imperfect crown. Gale's folly, one might call it. History, repetition. It's the way things go. With pleasure. Lead on.
The Blade of Frontiers in the guise of a devil. I'd remark on the irony, but I'd hate to waste the breath. Still, it took guts to defy that petty patron of his. The Blade's sting is real.
The disc appears in your mind's eye. Lae'zel sees it too, and considers the vision.
Tissue markings. Ancient. I recognize them, but I can't make sense of... No. Wait. The texts are enciphered, but I've solved the pattern. It's a story. About Orpheus.
Your head buzzes in concert with Lae'zel's, but it hardly matters. Even without the connection, you'd recognize her discomfort.
A traitor. A dead one. This text is heresy. I can hardly bear to read it, let alone speak it. Very well. I will read it to you. The Prince of the Comet, Part 1. So it was that we were free from Geich shackles and turned our blades on each other. The heavens were shattered, and one great empire was divided in two. Gith traveled to the Hells to broker help for her people, her cause. Vlaakith would have you believe Mother Gith proclaimed her our queen. Lies. Gith made no such proclamation. Vlaakith seized the Empire against the Mother's wishes. But Gith had nurtured a son, Orpheus, Prince of the Comet, the true heir. He knew Vlaakith's treachery. Orpheus rallied Gith's honor guard and declared the throne for himself. The War of the Comet had begun. Disregard this drivel. Gith declared Vlaakith queen of the Empire, and her own son defied her. Orpheus would have ceded control to the Geich. She did nothing of the sort. Thank your good fortunes I'm a tolerant woman, or I'd have sliced off a few toes for suggesting it.
I hope Mizora flies into the blades of a windmill for what she did to Will. Though, I must admit, the new look is a little dashing.
I'm sure you do. But please try to understand that it's not something I can just talk about freely.
Very well. Perhaps there's potential in you. Let's see how you handle this. I am indeed a disciple of Shah, Mistress of the Night and Lady of Loss. I assume you've heard of her? Curious. Most are afraid of my lady. I think I did well by joining you. Most agreeable company. Very serious of you. But go ahead. Always good when I'm with you.
I promised I'd be back.
Don't worry. I have things under control. For now.
I see you've been using the powers the tadpole gives you. Good. But things haven't gone as you expected. You hoped a druid as powerful as Halsin might be able to remove your tadpole. But he couldn't. You're desperate to be rid of it. Understandable.
But you're looking for solutions in the wrong places. It's complicated, but I'm an adventurer, just like you. Just like you, I was infected with a Mind Flayer parasite. Just like you, I seek to be free of it. But to do that, we'll need to think beyond local healers. Your parasite is unusual. It is wrapped in magic that prevents its removal. Until the source of the tadpole's magic is destroyed, any attempt to remove it will kill you. You were lucky that Halsin knew this. His instincts are right. The parasites are merely a symptom of a greater sickness in Faerun. The Absolute's aims are not yet clear to me, but its progress towards domination is clear. These parasites are more than illithid spawn. They are vessels for control. The infected hear the voice of the Absolute and believe it to be a god. That is how the cult of the Absolute is spreading. The highest of their rank, the True Souls, carry a tadpole just like yours. It is how they receive their orders. It is what makes them obey. When the order to transform is given, it will not be a matter of days. They will be Mind Flayers in an instant. Were it not for my protection, so would you. I have powers of my own. Unique powers. But know that we are alike. I've been trying to escape from this evil for a long time. Once, I almost succeeded. Now, through you, I've been given a new chance. You can go where I cannot, and I can protect you from that evil. If we work together, we may turn this around. Hells. They need me. I have to go. No. It isn't safe. The power I used to protect you, I stole it from someone. They want it back. I will hold them off for as long as I can, but sooner or later I will be worn down. You must discover the source of the magic that controls the parasites before that happens. The cultists are gathering at Moonrise Towers. Use the powers your parasite gives you to convince them you are one of them. And when you find the source of their magic, destroy it. Go. Our freedom depends on it.
I had another dream. Which, I suppose, means you did as well. Whoever's reaching out to us truly does seem opposed to the Absolute, but wants us to embrace the tadpole. Venture right into the heart of the cult. Perhaps we truly have a secret protector. Or we're walking into a trap.
So, Shadowheart. Such a name implies yours is a difficult heart to find.
It's not that hard to find. Perhaps any difficulty is more telling of you, Gale.
No one back home will ever believe this.
There's no time to waste.
Let's move.
There's something I've been wanting to share with you, if now's a good time. It's difficult to put into words. I think it might be easier to just show you. Use the tadpole. The connection. Come into my mind. I'm sure. I trust you. I don't remember how it started, only how it ended. I was fleeing. She asked my name. Can't remember what I said. Can't remember anything before those words. All I know is she saved my life and gave me a new home. With Lady Shah. It hurts. That's all I remember.
Something sparks in your memory about Selûnite rites of passage. You heard once about how they would send their children out into the wilds to navigate their way home.
You're reading too much into things. A childhood bauble, that's all. Just because Selûnites claim something doesn't mean they own it. Normally I'd agree, but with you, it's getting easier by the moment. Fine. What's on your mind? Quite splendidly, to give credit where it's due. You and I have shared some good times together, and it seems we have plenty in common. I suppose we'd go our separate ways. Not a slight on your company, of course. Home. Baldur's Gate. There's someone waiting for me there. Someone I have to reach. As soon as possible. Let's just say it's a very personal, very private acquaintance. I suppose some would commend our actions. Goblins would have razed that whole place to nothing if it weren't for us. No. We've still got our own problems to contend with.